Let's talk about some data security policies. Data security is really important in your organization, especially when you notice that something suspicious is actually happening, or you just want to raise the bar when it comes to the basic cybersecurity principles. So first of all, what it does is when you're creating a policy, you choose what kind of data you want to protect, then you add some rules to it, and then you run the policy and it will be applied based on the rules, based on the initial settings that you have defined. So what you do, first of all, you need to be the org admin in order to actually set up your data security policies. That's one thing. Another thing is to get to it, just click on security, and on the left side, you will be seeing the data security policies. So the first thing is I'm going to click on create the policy. And this policy, I can have something like block data export. I'm going to click on save. And now when you actually click on the save, the first thing you're going to have is going to be the classification levels, and spaces, and projects, and also you're going to have for some products. Now when I go for the products, it's going to tell me that I have 3 products in here. So what I can actually do is for this is my production and this is my sandbox that I'm having. So I can say all 3 products. I can add a coverage for all of these products. What I can basically do is I want to block all of the data export. So this means exporting XML, CSS, HTML, PDF, and Word. This actually can be good because you can avoid such exports if for some reason your instance needs to be public. But if you have some project managers, product owners to be actually looking through the issues and they need to export them through the CSV, well, they might be encountering this. But we're talking about the raising the security here. So I'm going to click on save in here, and this is what I'm having. So I can add more rules to this. I can select a rule and click on add the rule, and I can choose for the public links. So what are the public links? So public links allow the organization admins when the public links are actually turned on based on the link that has been generated to them. They can send that to another user who doesn't actually have the Atlassian account to be, part of it. So may take up to 10 minutes for existing public links to stop working. Confluence page access for a public link can be actually viewed by anyone. Now, that is another thing when in Confluence. Yeah, I mean, yes, if you have the anonymous access on, if you actually have the anonymous access that is actually being turned off, then it's not actually gonna be there. So I'm gonna save this as well. Now I want to show you the access. So what actually this is the user access settings, and within this, you have some of the invitation links, right? And it gives anyone access to the products without the admin approval. This is a really bad practice actually to have because anyone can be jumping into your instance and they can start to create havoc. So this is one big no, and you actually should avoid this. That is a bad practice. And you also have the anonymous access. So and it's saying to block the anonymous access, and in here it blocks the anonymous access for Jira, for Confluence, and the sandbox itself. Now let's demystify what actually anonymous access really means. So for the Confluence, And within your spaces, you have the option to actually turn on the anonymous access, where this will be available to the whole internet if they actually have the link to it. If this is like really necessarily, I would suggest that you actually keep this to be only on view and nothing more. So if that is a must, okay, do it, but it is recommended to not have the anonymous access at all. When it comes to Jira on the other side, well, if we're actually defining the anonymous access, first of all, there is browse projects permission for each of those projects. That is one thing. The second thing is that there is actually a global permission that is being called create team managed projects, that is by default being set on public. So I would recommend for this to actually be turned off, to the public to be turned off. You can limit this to only the users within your instance, so they can actually create team managed projects. I'm not saying that you should like turn that off because it's going to take the jobs from us. Some people just want to do some things by themselves, and I'm saying, let them do that. If they want to create those team managed projects and they want to manage that by themselves, let them be. All right. So first of all, if you're not sure how the anonymous access actually really works, we are actually in here. And first of all, who can do this? So you need to be the org admin. You need to have the Atlassian Guard standard. So okay, this is sometimes known public access in Confluence and Jira. All right, so it's saying permission schemes, right? To allow users. Yeah, okay. All right, so this is for the public. That's what actually it means. So that means you can set any project to have a public access, which will be basically available on the internet. Don't do that unless you want to test out and actually see who will actually destroy your instance. If I go and save this, yeah, it's gonna be saved. What I wanna do in here is I wanna activate the policy. Yeah, even though if it's saying block data export, it's not only doing that, it's doing much more than that. So let's go for more policies in here. I'm gonna say policy number 2. That's how creative I am. And to add some coverage in here. So first of all, when it comes to data security, there's some classifications level in here. So first of all, I really don't have any classification level in here. So let me just put my camera right here. So I still don't have it. All right, so classifications level. So it's actually in here, which is the data classification. And I have the option, I can create a template from it and I can review it. Yeah, sure. And I can save it, save and create another. All right, create a classification level. It's going to be secret, for example. And I can add some coloring here if I want. So let me be that. And this is what I'm actually having in here. So first of all, it's saying highly restricted, internal, and public. Okay, this is something that you should know. There is also defined the sensitivity level, which is the highest one. And it's saying if this data is used in an authorized manner, unauthorized, it could result to reputational damage to the company, cause loss of trust with customers, and present other serious risks, like the regulations. There is like the restricted. It could cost a loss with the customers and present other things. And there is some internal stuff that actually needs to be covered. So if I go back to my policy right here, and I go with the classification levels have been published yet. Okay, that's weird because I already have that. Okay, let's publish all of these levels. All right, now it's in the status of published. Now I can go back to my policy. I can add the coverage, classification levels. I can add all of them. So I have 4 classification levels. So that is the thing that I can do. And now there are some of the rules in here, and it's saying that they're like free available rules for the data export. I'm gonna say block that. And I'm having this in here, and that is actually how it's going to be defined. The policy covers issues and pages, but go for more. You can actually go for more of these, and I'm gonna create another data security policy. So my coverage is going to be on spaces and projects. So it's I'm going to select one of my Jira projects. Let's go with more of them. Let's go with the let's go with the spaces. I'm going to add the coverage. Okay, that has been done. I have to add the rule. Now, this is what I have. The one thing that I'm having here is prevent apps from accessing certain data in the spaces and projects covered. And you can select any apps you want to allow, then block all the rest, including apps installed in the future. So this means that basically system apps are not blocked by access rules. Apps that access certain Atlassian APIs, they they are not blocked by the app access rules. All other currently installed apps updated to those can actually be blocked. So now what happens by this? This actually happens if I so allowed apps. There is like one allowed apps, and the rest of them future installs there are blocked. Okay, what this actually means if you want to install the future application on your instance, it means that it will be blocked. Why? Because it's going to prevent the apps to access certain API endpoints. For example, to retrieve the Jira projects, to retrieve the Confluence spaces, the permissions, the permission schemes, and everything that is actually being covered by the Jira and the Confluence API. And that is like a lot of stuff in there that can actually potentially manipulate the data with the usage of the API, not to mention the other methods, just like the get method, just like the post method, put and delete method. Those are the 4 methods that are actually being used. But overall, this is what I wanted to cover with the data security policies. Then don't forget to like, share, subscribe to the channel. See you guys in the next video. Bye bye.